Blades fans, subscribe to Blades Ramble. Up the Blades.
What is happening, Blades? And welcome back to the Blades Ramble. I am, of course, your mate, and we are proudly sponsored, as always, by Action Coach Sheffield. If you're a growing business and want support to continue that growth, they are the people to speak to. We're also proudly sponsored by VMB Autos, and we're also sponsored by Triple Point Brewery. And all the details for our sponsors are in the description down below. So thank you to them for their continued support. And it's here. It's here. The thing we've all been waiting for. Where's the return list? Where is it? What's happening? It's here. And are we any of the wiser? Because I'm not. I think this causes more confusion than anything. I don't think this clarifies out that we were searching when we wanted the return list. I think the majority of people, and I can't speak for everyone, David Webster, the majority of people just want clarity on what's happening with the players. And I was trying to justify what I thought might be happening is that maybe we're working out some final details on a contract for one or two of them, and we want to be able to release it and say, oh, well, McBurney signed a new 2-year deal, so this is what... But ultimately, the lists come out, and I'm jumping straight into it because, again, it's caused more confusion than it has clarifying stuff for us. So they've done different categories on the list, and it's a really strange way to sort of lay it out because it leaves more questions than answers. The free transfer element we already knew. There's the 6 named United players. So that's Chris. There's the 5 previously known. Sorry, Chris Basham, George Ballock, who was signed for Panathinaikos, as reported on the Ramble. A signed for Panathinaikos. Congratulations to George. What an absolute huge loss he is for United. But we don't begrudge him. All the best, and he deserves it. What a player. Wes Fodringham, Max Lowe, and Ollie Norwood. We knew that because United have rightly been doing tributes to those players most of them have had a great career for United. Jordan Amissa has been added to that list, the young goalkeeper who is built like a unit, and I thought did okay whenever he came on and played for United. So he's just not really, whether that's opportunity or growth, and I don't mean physically, obviously, but in terms of his progress, I don't think he's quite up to speed. We've got players like Luke Faxon now coming through that are looking like a brighter prospect and a lot younger, and it's a tough gig at this high level. Jordan Amissa, I've no doubt, will find a career in the game because he's good enough to be a professional goalkeeper, and we wish him all the best. So that is clarity. That is, to be honest, the other part that's clear, returning players returning on expiry of their temporary contracts. So loan players that were with us this season that will now return to their parent club. Mason Holgate, Yasser Larousse, but I need a certain song. Didn't get to sing that much, did we? All we care about is James McAtee. Thank you, Macca. What a player for the Blades you have. And obviously one of the best loans we've had. Add him to the list of quality loans we've had. He were only here less than 6 months, but Ben Brereton Diaz returns to Villarreal. So all the loan players we had, the players we already knew were leaving, and Jordan Amissa, who's also been released, that's clear. The other slight bit of clarity we have is that options have been activated for Jayden Bogle and Reece Norrington-Davis, who we also reported had options in the deal. That's classed as option activated. Now, there's another category. There's a full retained list, which includes some names that cause confusion. But there's also a category called free transfer, in brackets, ongoing discussions. So currently set to be a free transfer. However, they've put Daniel Jebison in a different category in terms of offers made. So just a really unnecessarily confusing list. So offers made is to Daniel Jebison, and he's the only one on that element of the list. Then free transfer brackets ongoing discussions with Adam Davis, John Egan, Ollie McBurney, Ben Osborne. Ben Osborne, who was touted in the press and by Wilder, I'm going to be looking to renew and take Ben Osborne up on his option. We want to renew him. We know we've got an option on Ben Osborne because we were openly talking about it in the press. Wilder was. But, sorry, I've got an ulcer on the side of my tongue, I think. And it's really hurting. And I'm not able to speak properly, so it might not be a long one tonight. So the Aussie one, then we know, got the rug pulled from it, which is really, it were a strange thing because obviously there's been rumours of this takeover and they have had an influence in Ben Osborne. This has also been reported in the press that in Aussie being offered a new contract. Nobody really knew what that sort of influence meant, me included. So now Aussie's in the mix for ongoing discussions. Is he a free transfer or are we going to retain him? Ollie McBurney, we know we haven't got an option on because that's been widely reported. John Egan, I still believe we've got an option on. I may be wrong on this, but it's the similar information that you get about Jayden Bogle and Norrington Davis. The only thing I can think with John Egan is, and this again is an assumption, is that he's not fit. So we believe, and this is my assumption, not fact, we believe that John Egan isn't fit enough to sign for another club at the moment, so we might have a little bit more time in negotiating with him. These contracts all run till the end of June, remember? So that's when a player's contract runs till. So we've got 4 more weeks, essentially, of them under contract. But Ollie McBurney's still in negotiations with them. Adam Davis, who we were certainly looking to free, certainly that I was aware of, maybe because Gerbic has been such a bust. We know Wes has gone and now Amiss has gone. We're just maybe speaking to him about staying on as the eventual third choice goalkeeper, maybe. I don't know. So that for me is a confusing element of it. The other thing that's caused confusion with the retained list is the players retained are said to be Anel, Arblaster, Cameron Archer, Ryan Brewster, Andre Brooks, Koulibaly, Sam Curtis, who has played half a game and he's classed as a first teamer. I hope he does get more minutes next season. Tom Davis, Ivo Gerbic, Gus Hamer, Will Asula, Jack Robinson, Anis Slimani, Vinny Souza, Benny Traore, and Austin Trusty. So of that list, Cam Archer we know goes back to Villa, but it's already been a confusing enough thing to explain to people because it was quite a complex deal. The Cam Archer for the final time, and I've seen different prices to what I was made aware of online, and I'm not claiming to be the one that knows exactly what the deal was, although my source is quite a strong one. Cam Archer, we signed Cam Archer, and it's been reported for 18 million quid. And if we were to stay up, he's our player because we've signed him. But it was part of the agreement with Villa that if we got relegated, they have the obligation to buy him back. So it wasn't a loan. It was to protect us as a club for not having a Ryan Brewster scenario where we pay £23 million for a player. Then we get relegated. He don't actually do the business for us. And we're stuck with huge outgoings that we're committed to paying. It's a smart deal from the football club. And Cam Archer is on our retained list, but he will be going back to Villa. And I understand why they do that, but I think you could communicate it a little bit better. Koulibaly has been out on loan, been in the press saying that he's, looking at what his options are for his future, and he's enjoying playing where he's. I can't remember what club he's on loan at. IFK, AEK, Summit. So he's out abroad playing football. Just started doing quite well by all accounts. He's out of contract at the end of this season, so it's weird that he's on the retained list. We have got the option to extend Koulibaly for another year. Now, we may do that to try and get a fee for him from this foreign club, but it's not... Oh, do you know what I mean? It's not really... It's not going to be part of our squad, so why are we... We might not even be retaining him. We might just be waiting for the transfer window to open for the deal to be finalised. And we all know that Benny Traore, who's been on a podcast this week, today, saying that his move away from the club is imminent. And yes, currently he is still going to be a Sheffield United player. But if he's out on loan at Nantes and it's them that make the deal permanent, if it's them, we don't know that. then we're laughing because we're getting his money back. But it's just a strange way to deliver the news. So there's obviously players like Vinny Souza in there, who I don't think will be here next season. And Nell's in there, obviously, who he is a current player. I understand why he's on the list. Won't be here next season, in my opinion. It's the worst kept secret in football that Ivo Gerbic was trying to get rid of. I make out our team next season from this list. Potentially Adam Davis as a goalkeeper. That's it. Jayden Bogle, with only a year left on his contract. Sam Curtis, who's played less than a full game of football, half a game of football. Jack Robinson, who I think will also have a year left on his contract because he signed a 2-year deal at the beginning of last season. Austin Trusty, who's been largely disappointing for most of the season. Reece Norrington-Davis, who hasn't been able to stay fit, unfortunately, because I think there's such a good player in there, but we've activated an option on him, so he's only got 1 year left. John Egan is a big question mark. I'm hoping, as I say, that from what I understand, we've got an option on John Egan. That might not be right, but that's what I understand. So maybe we're just trying to stretch it out where we can offer him a different structured deal. Midfield looks a little bit stronger. We've got Ollie Arblaster, Gus Hamer, two absolute superstars in the middle. Andre Brooks, Tom Davis, and Anis Slimani. That's who I think will be our midfield next season. Those five. Obviously, we're going to strengthen, but this is just the core that we're starting with. And up front, maybe McBurney. Doesn't sound very positive to me. Maybe Jebison. Doesn't sound very positive to me. Ryan Brewster and Will Asula. And that's your lot. That's your lot. I know we've got promising youngsters as well who haven't quite broken through to the first team yet. You're talking Louis Marsh and Ryan One. But that highlights what a huge job we've got this summer. And look, in terms of the Ramble and the content coming to the channel, don't get me wrong, I'm up for this because we love squad builds and we love sort of assessing what players we could bring in and what you guys want to see in terms of a Sheffield United squad and the new ownership. Does that mean we've got a bigger budget? Probably, if that comes off. So it's exciting, but the return list does not really provide us with a lot of clarity. Certainly not the way it's been delivered. So it's frustrating as much as anything else. So thank you, everybody that's joined me tonight. I know it's a little bit later than usual. I have been out for a curry with my bro tonight, which then as soon as we've made all those plans, return list drops on the day that we plan to go out. So don't worry, we're not returning back to daily rambles, but we're here when news drops, and that's what we're here for, isn't it? So I hadn't had a chance to watch Sheffield United Ways video. I know they've been on before us, but I don't like to watch their stuff before I come on because I don't want to be influenced by what they've said, because we like to roll naturally and just go with the flow. So apologies if I've repeated anything that they've said, but it's a genuine opinion. Lucas starts us off tonight. Good evening, pal. Is Archer staying? No, he's not, mate. No, he's not. And hopefully that's explained it to you. Danny says, finally. Yes, absolutely, finally. Alls, good evening, mate. Well, the look of things, we should be okay in the champ if we get McBurney and Egan tied down. No, that's not a given. And we keep the likes of Gus and Blaster, and that's not a given either, unfortunately. Of course, sign a few players. We could be a big threat next year. Yeah, we could. That's a lot of ifs, though. A lot of ifs. Bri, good evening, mate. Evening, Jimmy and Prince Abdullah. Looking at the return list, if the transfers are a goer, take Garbage, Souza, Slimani, Koulibaly. We could be down to the bare bones. Hope Wilder has got his list ready. Up the Blades, up the Ramble, like and subscribe. Thank you, mate. Is Cam Archer going to be here next season then? Up the Blades, up the... No, he's not, pal. And again, you're asking the questions because it's not clear, is it, on the list? We sort of talk about the club communication quite a lot. And it's, again, with something so simple. All it needed was a line that, however, Aston Villa are obligated to buy back Cameron Archer due to the club's relegation. I sometimes don't think that fans are always at the forefront of the minds of the club when it comes to simple stuff like this. Simon Gregory, good evening, pal. Well, after all this time waiting, the return list comes out. I'm still none the wiser. Exactly, pal. Any thoughts, Jimmy? Up the Blades, up the Ramble. I've given you some there, mate. I've given you some there. How is Archer retained? Hope he is. Confused, says David. hopefully that's yeah. I suppose hours until actually sold back per the obligation. That's right. That's what it is. And David Wareham, thank you very much, pal, for becoming a Rambler. Appreciate the support. And if you drop your number to me, I'll get you in the group. You'll find that on our community page on YouTube. My number's on there for you to get into the WhatsApp groups for the Ramblers. Howdy, Jim, says Scott. Lots of talk on McBurney's contract extension, but nothing on Egan's. Is that likely? Is Jebbo ever going to sign? If he's not bothered getting gone, Wilder was clear he wants people that want to be here. Up the Ramble, up the Blades. Yeah, we're in excuse me, we're in a bit of a difficult state, aren't we now? Because we've just read the list of who's going to be left, particularly if the sales happen that we think is going to happen. Those players return that are going to return like a Cam Archer. Then you're talking, do we need Egan? I think we probably do need Egan, which puts the ball in his court for a stronger contract. I'm not sure McBurney resigns. I don't know. I'm genuinely, completely in the dark about that. I don't think Jebbo will sign. So we're down to bare bones, aren't we? We're down to bare bones. But you're right. Wilder said if they don't want to be here, get rid. Evening, Gary. I get the return list, but for me, I'm more interested in who's coming in. We can't afford another start like last season. Takeover. Let's get moving now. Then we know what we have. Up the Blades, up the ramp. Well said, pal. Well said. Completely agree. Yeah, it's boxed off now, isn't it? Return list's done. We know who's, well, with an idea of who's staying, who's going. We don't officially know, do we, I suppose? But we're closer, hopefully. Jimmy, when you went to the Player of the Year Awards, which players knew who you were? I don't know, mate, to be fair. I had nobody coming up to me going, all right, Jimmy, up the Ramble or anything like that. Not that I expected it either. I highly doubt. I know some at Ramblers sort of joke with me that a lot of players will watch, but who knows? Who knows, mate? I had a message from one of the players today saying up the Ramble, which were a bit surreal. But anyway, Cole says, hi, Jimmy, surprised Egan contract not sorted and futures up in the air. Would be a big loss if he went, but free up wages alongside McBurney. We really need this takeover to be done and get our team assembled up the Ramble. Thank you, pal. I think in centre defence, you can afford to lose like half a yard, particularly at championship level, and still be a really strong player. So for me, John Egan's a really important player to tide it. And don't forget, he's our captain. He's been out a long time, and they were disappointing at the beginning of the season. But retaining John Egan is really important for us. And as I say, I'm backed up by the belief, and that's all it is at the minute. As I say, it's not for me to confirm or deny, really, but I believe there's an extension in there that we can activate if we choose to do so. Jimmy Glad coloured boots is off. We don't know that yet, Neil. We don't know that. He's only good at defending for me, and Egan has never been a dominant centre-back and only got the holding job because he can't carry the ball, unlike Bash and O'Connell up the Ramble. Fair? That's your opinion, Neil. I think Egan's probably a touch better than you give him credit for with ball at his feet. We've seen it a couple of times when he's pushed out to right centre-back that he does a job for us there, but all about opinions, pal. All about opinions. Yeehaw! It drops at last. On a serious note, the ones who have been offered contracts need a short time limit to agree. We haven't got time to waste, says Jason. Yeah, but Jace, I agree with you, pal. But how long do they need? The time is up for me. Time is up for me. And if they don't want to stay, cut ties. And yes, we might be weaker short term for it. But you can't, on one hand, say we need players who are dedicated to the club and only want to be here, but then reject best offer you can potentially offer him. John Egan is the only one that I would potentially push to try and keep out of those that are up in the air now. David, hi Jimmy, another live one made. Thank you, pal. Up the Ramble, up the Blades. Hit the little thumb and subscribe. Thank you, mate. Kev O'Connell, hi Jimmy. No need to worry next season. Ryan O'Neill and Louis Marsh will rock the championship to its foundations. Just need to sign some experience to bring young lads along. Wow. Yeah, I think it might be a season too early for him at championship level, to be honest. But I'd like to see them both out on loan. Having said that, with the way our squad's going at the minute, they may well be involved, might they? And who's to say they won't be sensational, because they have been at youth level, aren't they? FX Pilot joins in with One and Mash will go out on loan. Let's get Lawrence Shanklin to play with Brewster and Asula. Jebbo doesn't want to know, so get him binned so we can concentrate on players who really want to be here. Yeah, a lot of people say the same. I'll comment more on Jebo. I've alluded to my thoughts on Jebo and Wilder's treatment of Jebo, but I'll comment more when his future's been decided, and I think it'll probably become a little bit clearer as to why I've thought what I thought. Everyone asking about Archer, he will be sold back to Villa as soon as the window opens. Technically still our player until then, so we have to retain him on our books until he goes back. Yeah, that's true, Hamer time, and that's to the letter of the law. That is exactly what we're doing. But just a line in there to explain to fans, this is all about. We've already spoken to the EFL about it. All the official paperwork has gone in. This is purely a communication vehicle, if you like, to let fans know what's happening. And that should be the core of these sort of messages. Don't lead some fans to believe, and I don't think they've done it on purpose, I just don't think they've thought about it. Don't lead some fans to believe that we're keeping players that we're not. And it's not like it's a 50-50 that he stays. He's going back. Really surprised about Egan, says Danny Boy. Hope he signs a good squad player. No to Ollie and the rest of them. Fresh start, fresh players, and this time, hopefully no delay in the takeovers. We need bodies in now. The only reason I could see us letting Egan leave is either his choice or a change in tactics. With Egan, we're bound to that back three, back five, and maybe we want more versatility. I still think you retain Egan if you're going to a 4. I know people criticise him in a 4, but for me, I think he's a very good championship player. Very good championship player. Get what we can for Sousa. Heard Galatasaray are interested in Hamer and putting a bid together. Can offer Champions League, so no competition there. Hope he stays, though. I'd go for Cooper from Leeds on a free. Cooper, the centre-half from Leeds. No, thank you. I think Andy the Blades still got more in his locker. Vicious Susan probably is back to Spain, or perhaps Fulham could still be in for him if Polini leaves. Yeah, that's a big one that me and Billy were strong on. Probably more at the beginning of last season when he first came in. Though we didn't see him staying with us long term. I don't know if he's done enough. I mean, the thing with Sousa is his stats stand up. He fails the eye test every time. But if you just go on data, which you should never really do, he looks okay on a stats table. So maybe that works in our favour. Like ball recoveries and stuff like that. He don't tell you how many times he passed it out of play to no one and how many points he does per game. Because if it did, then it won't stack up well for him. Good solid centre-back with him and Worrell will be a good pairing with experience. So back four of Worrell, Cooper, Bogle and Reece-Norrington-Davies. We trust in Robbo as backup. Looks good, that, Jimmy. Not to me, Danny boy. Not to me. To be honest, everybody knows that I've criticised Jack Robinson in the past. But I would much rather have Jack Robinson alongside Joe Worrell than Liam Cooper. No, well past it for me. And again, it's a game of opinions, isn't it? It's absolutely fair enough if you think different. I also think bringing Brown from Preston, good engine on him, also on a free. Yeah, not against that at all. He'll be probably mentioned in some of our squad builds. So a back line of Bogle, Worrell, Cooper and RND and a midfield of Hamer, Brown and Arblaster with a couple of new strikers up top. I'm so excited for next season, Jimmy. Not doom and gloom. Last one, pal, up the Ramble. No worries, mate. That's what it's about. We want to be excited, don't we? We want to get giddy for next season and have some optimism about maybe going into a football match thinking Sheffield United can win. Can you imagine? That used to happen. It did, honestly. I know some of us can't remember it, but I'm trying to cast my mind back. We did used to win some games. I'd love to have Kipre. Now you're talking, Cole. I like Kipre. I always gone about him, but contract up and Corberan leaving West Brom with all that uncertainty at the Hawthorns. I know where I'd rather play my trade. Could be a solid centre-back. He will be involved. Davey boy, Dave the Blades. This better be a good episode, Jimmy. Cutting my curry short. Yeah, I've been out with Dave the Blade tonight. All right, pal. Good night, as per my little bro. Keeper, Worrell and Robbo at the back would be very solid with Boyle and Darnell Furlong and Burrows either side is a back line I would trust. Burrows and or Reece-Norrington-Davies. Now you're talking. Now I'm getting a little bit more. Yeah, I can see that. Darnell Furlong, 28, 29. We talked about him last night, didn't we? But we'll see. Danny says 4-3-3 next season for him. Interesting. We'll be talking about that too. Evening, Jimmy Pal. Enjoy your last few days of freedom up the Ramble. Last few days of freedom. Is that in relation to Ramble Challenge? Yeah. So we're doing Ramble Fitness Challenge, as a lot of you will know, done by Stevie Marsden. And yeah, I'm obviously very accountable because I put myself out there on internet to say I'm going to do it. I'm going to take it a step further. I think I'm going to start documenting some stuff about it. I'm not saying I'm going to take you to the gym with me or all like that because I'm not guaranteed to go to the gym at all. But just in terms on the second channel, the Jimmy Ramble channel, we're going to try and sort of experiment on there a little bit. We're going to do some Euros watch-alongs. I'm going to take you through on this fitness journey with me. So if anybody's part of this journey with Steve and myself, then all the details are down below. Get yourself signed up and come over there to see how we're doing at Jimmy Ramble, yeah? So see if we can get some traction on second channel as well. Retain list is out, says Joe. Start the Ramble transfer vids. Scout Jimmy is back again. Let's hope it's a bit better than Archer. Hey, Joe, I thought we were mates. There's a player in Cam Archer. I'm telling you now, there's a player in there. Chris says, which is the biggest surprise? Company going to Burnley or Wes going to West Ham? Right, Wes going to West Ham. Let me have my say on this. Look, some channels, I don't mean Sheffield United channels per se, but some channels will not give you an opinion on things. And I have to say, I've been strong on Wes all the way through. I don't think he's a Premier League goalkeeper. I think he's a decent Championship goalkeeper. So part of me sort of admired the fact that he thought highly of himself to refuse a very strong contract offer from us because he wanted to be a number one and in the Premier League, and I understand that. He threw his teddies out at Pram when he knew we were going to be replaced, and he started chelping at fans, kicked a ball into a cop. All this sort of stuff that people seem to forget about, or some people seem to forget about, to be fair. But there's a part of you that thinks, well, if he believes in himself enough to be a number one, then fair play to you, lad. Fair play. So I think, right, well, he's obviously going to go on a free and somebody will get a decent Championship goalkeeper for note in Wes Foderingham. He'll still have a couple of good years left in him because he's not old for a keeper. And he rocks up as third choice at West Ham. The old Scott Carson position. So don't come on with your big Bible preachers on Instagram and the man will have his day, God hath no fury, hell hath, all this sort of rubbish. And then you go and warm a bench at West Ham. This is nothing personal. It's never personal against any players, but there's no point giving digs, like sly digs that are meant to be, unpickable. You can easily see what he's meaning by it and alluding to. And I'd respect him for that if he went and he was Hull City's number one next season and they got promoted and he played his part and all that sort of stuff. Saved a penalty against United just to stick it to us. But no, he's going to take the money and he's going to go to West Ham. And fair play to you. Look, if I'm a keeper and I can get a deal like that, absolutely brilliant. Because he's not going to play, is he? And he's just going to get paid for going to West Ham's training ground all season. Fair play to you, mate. Don't blame you at all. But then don't come across as all holier than thou when you're not going to get picked for Sheffield United. Just, yeah. It winds me up that, if you can't tell. Jimmy, out of the lone players, who would you like to see playing for Sheffield United next season? Come on. My boy, Cam. I think he'd rip up the Championship like he has done previously. This is a late one, Jimmy. You must be excited. It's a late one because I were out, pal. It'd have been a lot earlier, but I'd made plans with Dave the Blade. And I wasn't going to do it. And then I put a vote in the Ramblers chat. Should I go on tonight at 9 o'clock? Or should I save it till tomorrow night to start my squad build and do it properly? Or should I just do both? And the majority voted for both, even though some didn't want me to come on tonight. So thanks to all, your mates are. I'm not saying we're definitely going live tomorrow at 7, by the way. It might well be Friday, but we'll see. Heard Lowe's in talks with Leeds, according to their channel. Been leaving a few messages on behalf of us Blades. Seem a bit niffed, to be honest. Leeds will get disinterested. Get a disinterested player, which could benefit us. He can go to Leeds for me. He can go to Leeds. Daniel Farker can stay. That's great. Love all that. Jimmy, if you could bring in 2 strikers for us Blades for a promotion push from a modest fee or a free transfer, who would you bring in to replace Archer, Diaz and McBurney? Danny, I'll be getting to that. Don't you worry. That's what your squad build videos are for. Glad you like the scarves, mate. Keep up the good work. Thank you, pal. Craig is a huge supporter of the channel. Not only is a Rambler, but he regularly sends me stuff to contribute towards the studio. He sent me a rug, a Sheffield United rug. He sent me some scarves. It's some old shirts. Top man. Thank you, Craig, for all your support, mate. Dino, at the end of the day, this return list is useless. Say what you think, Dino. It'll be nothing like this in a week or two. I'd like to know how much input into this Chris Wilder's had. Up the blades, all that is up in the air, innit? Because, before the takeover talk, there'd have been no doubt that Chris Wilder's led this. But because of the confusion over Osborne and a few other things that have come out, you think, how much? Surely, I know he's had a say because he wouldn't be here. I'm confident he would not be here. He'd have walked if decisions were being made for him. But what else is causing decisions to be delayed? Is it that there's more money on the table now? Is it that there's something else to, it might not all be negative. There might be strong reasons for it. Don't retain lists usually include young'uns who've been released and signed a contract. We've announced that earlier though now, them Blades. We've announced all the scholars that we signed up a couple of weeks ago that were on Sheffield United site. Jimmy, I know I was Mr. Gloom last season, but I'm feeling the pride and desire coming back over the last few weeks with constant good news coming from the club. Just got optimism back, Jimmy. Come on, you Blades. Good lad, Danny. That's what we like, pal. Love that. RJ says, just so people realise we've lost Archer, McBurney and BBD. Jebo offered a new contract. If Jebo and McBurney don't sign, we're left with Brewster, Bennett and Asula. Not even Benny. Benny's on his way as well, pal. It's Brewster and Asula up front for us. Mr. V says, 2 live rambles in 2 days. I could get used to this. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Like and subscribe. I don't think my missus could. So, yeah. Sean confirms that Benny's going. Absolutely he is. Evening, Jimbo. Egan has to stay, says Tom. Important that I'm off to watch Come Fly With Me. Yeah, Tom were in our chat earlier saying, if you'll pardon the pun, for those of you that haven't seen Come Fly With Me, you're missing out. But he got a gif of, I can't remember his name now. If you'll pardon the pardon. Funny. So funny. Ollie McBurney's not going anywhere, I hope, says Danny. Can see a few Premiership strikers coming in as Brewster and Asula won't get the goals. I hope so. I think that's where we've got to use the loan market, to be honest, in attack. Oh, this ulcer's killing me, to be honest. I don't know whether I've burnt it tonight on this Ruby, but I think that's where you've got to use the loan market because they're the most expensive commodity, aren't they, strikers? They're a premium. 4 mil for Archer and his R's. No, we won't get Archer for 4 mil. No. George says, I think we have a decent foundation. Once Wilder brings his players in, we'll be all right. Keep the faith. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. I agree, George. I think Wilder's the man for the rebuild. As you know, I've said it ad nauseum, so I don't want to like my little Vickers pin badge tonight for the Platinum Ramblers. It's a Dozy Maboozy in disguise. Don't trust American owners. Give Osborne a bloody contract, says Ollie. I could go either way on Ozzy. If he stays, I'm okay with it. But it don't break me out if he leaves. Assuming the likes of Anel, Sousa and Gerbich go, says Joe, the likes of Curtis goes on loan next season. We'd have 12 senior players next season. The window has to go well. It does, mate. Finn says that lad who's posting every day till McBurney signs on Twitter might get to have a break soon. Yeah. Either that or he just keeps going indefinitely because he's not going to sign at all. Keep flip-flopping between we're going to be fine to we're at disaster's door, says Chris. The takeover needs to be done ASAP. If not, disaster looks closer. Why is being a Blade so stressful? Up the Blades. Up. We love it, Chris. We wouldn't have it any other way, would we, pal? We wouldn't have it any other way. It's never boring being a Blade. Never boring. I think I've got that on me. From SUFC Moments. It's never boring being a Blade. Shoreham boys, we are here. We have 18 players so far. Some of them will leave. Luckily, I don't want McBurney and Egan. We have to move on from them, says Ollie. So you want to keep Osborne, but you don't want to keep Egan. That is a shout. That is a shout. And I think you'll probably be in the minority there, Alls, but all opinions, mate. Sonny says, now then, Jimmy, if Egan leaves, it'll be our biggest blow to start the season. I agree. We've missed having the captain to organise the back line and support the players. If he goes, we've got to get Worrell. What about Egan and Worrell? Egan and Worrell. Worrell as right centre-back. Egan in the middle. I'll take Jackie Long through alongside him. I think that's solid, mate, at championship level. Late tonight, Jimmy lad, up the blades, like and subscribe, says Chris. We won't be on too long tonight if I can get through everybody's comments. Don't you worry. I'll need to get to my bed as well. Slits, hey Jimmy, I'll be more positive today. Up the blades, up the ramble. Like and subscribe. Thank you, pal. You're always welcome here. And look, you don't have to go with the flow. You've got your own opinion, pal, but you've more than made your points yesterday. Adam Davis, why are we discussing with him, says Rob. What has he done that's a really confusing one? I just think it's not panic stations, but needs must in terms of goalkeeper numbers. You know, I think we're desperate. We've got no keepers on the books if he goes, have we? No senior keepers at all. Is it because of Jebo's age, says Luke, in terms of why we've listed it as we have? No, I don't think it is. Well, maybe so, because we wouldn't release him on a free transfer, would we? It go to tribunal, which plays into my reasoning. Yeah, maybe so, Luke. Maybe, but again, why are we having to look that deep into it to dissect it? It shouldn't be necessary that we have to go to that extreme to get to the bottom of what the retain list even means. Any truth in the cash-in deal? Him going to Forest and immediately sign him on loan. I saw that tweet after we came off the Ramble yesterday. Didn't like it. Don't like the rumour at all. Only because, not because I don't like cash-in. I really like cash-in. If he's available for $5.5 million, we signed a Nell for $4.5, $5 million. Go sign cash-in. That's our left centre-back for next 10 years. Solid. Done. I'm hoping we can get him moving on the transfer window, just scary as the other teams seem to be making, rather quick. And we're only just releasing the list. We're in a state of limbo, aren't we, at the minute? We need to start moving, I think. Jimmy, your son goes back to Villa. It cost United $4 million first payment. Works out to a £4 million loan deal. They're different figures to the ones I got, mate. I know that's what's being reported online, and I'm not disputing that, but I personally, just as an individual, will trust the source that I had, that it wasn't quite that. I think Darren's also on that train of thought as well, though, so he obviously holds a lot of water with people close to the club. I just hope as soon as the window opens, the ones that are going are gone straight away. No loans out, says Luke. David Webster, Egan is a terrible defender. He lacks height, pace, athleticism, anticipation. He's always in the right place at the wrong time, usually as the ball is nestling in our net. Captain Calamity. So he's also... Right, okay. Good to know. It's not just Wilder that's incompetent in the Sheffield United setup. If Brewster plays this anything like his last game before injury, he'll tear the championship up. He'll tear something. He would love to see him form a partnership with Archer. Yeah, it wasn't to be, was it, pal, unfortunately? Rifat, good evening, mate. For me, Egan being renewed keeps us to a back three because he just can't play in a back four. He does for Ireland, though, doesn't he? But you're right, I've never seen him successfully do it for us. Only reason for this, I would not like us to renew him. I think 4-5-1, 4-3-3 is the only way to play. Is the only way in the Premier League. We need to get there first, Rifat, to be fair, mate. I know what you're saying, though. If we're going to progress with a longer-term strategy, that's the way to go, innit? Dublin Blade, any chance Noah and Chad get their act together and give Chris something to work with? Noah and Chad get their act together and give Chris... Are they the rumoured... Noah and Chad, I've just got that. They're the Red Half of Sheffield American Blades, aren't they? Yeah, good lads. They are not the ones that are buying Sheffield United. I certainly hope not anyway. No offence to the lads if they're watching. Hope new owners have more communication with us. Not being funny, but we keep the club running. It's all the fans are the club, aren't they? And to be fair to Wilder, that's what he always comes back to. What's up with Brewster, says Pete. No, what's up with Brewster? Well, he's probably injured with something, but it just come back anti towards the end of the season. He played in the last game, obviously. He's got a year left on his contract, like a lot of players. So if we're not careful, we could end up in a similar boat next season if we don't get all this sorted out. Man Mountain says, I think opening day team will have 7 new faces in it. What do you think, Jimmy? Up the Ramble, up the Blades, like and subscribe. 7 new faces. Let's have a look at who I had on my list. So on my list, I had Davis won't be in, so it's a new goalkeeper. Bogle will start. Robbo will probably start. Will Reece Norrington-Davies be fit? So goalkeeper, Bogle will start. So Robbo, 2 new centre halves, maybe a left wing back. Blaster and Brooks will play. Maybe a new centre midfield. Yeah, 7, because that's then 2 strikers. Yeah, could have 7 starters, mate. I'm with you. Hi, Jimmy. We need 2 keepers. Patterson isn't coming back. So back to square one. Any other ideas? Do we know that Patterson ain't coming? I didn't think Patterson was ever coming, to be honest. I thought that was a play to try and move the Victor Johansson deal along a little bit quicker. Because I know we were interested in Victor Johansson early doors, but it was never our top target as a club, even though as a fan base, he seemed to be. Patterson at 8 million quid, new owners or not, it were always going to be a bit pie in the sky. But obviously, I don't know whether you've heard something about the doors being shut on it now. I would like, I've got some ideas, and I'll get them in squad build. Joe says McBurney denying all rumours all over Twitter, just to leave on a free to Rangers all leads. Yeah, standard. All contracts have to run till the 30th of June. Due to this Archer's transfer, will go through the 1st of July to count as next season. That's right. Evening, Jimmy. We knew at the start of the season, says Andy, your son would be leaving if we got relegated. For the others, I'm sure time will tell. In Wilder we trust. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Like and subscribe. Thank you, pal. Ryan Brewster, baby. McBurney, Egan and Reese. When they get injured, they're out for months. We can't afford that anymore. Thanks for the service. When fit, but goodbye. Makes you wonder, though, doesn't it, whether it was training methods before. Obviously, Brewster's been a recurring case, but if we can nail this fitness issue and keep some of these players fit, which we have done under Wilder in the past. Wilder's first stint, we went through a long period where players were not injured. Whether that's luck, I'm not sure, but we have got it right in the past. I would think that the wheels are turning now, says Sam. We need to try and get some players to sign deals. I don't think we would have released this today if things weren't progressing off the pitch. I just think we had to release it. I'd love to be more of that thought process where, yeah, you know, something's happening, so that's why we're doing it. But I just think it were later than most of the clubs, wasn't it, really? And it's just, we have to get it out, so put it out now. Evening, Jimmy. Is Egan fit? Is that why the contract's not sorted? I don't think he is, Neil. I think that's probably it, mate. I don't think he's fit. I think we probably think we've got a little bit more time because maybe he don't pass a medical at another club at the minute. Don't want Ollie Mack here, says Craig. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Who was the player who said up the Ramble? If you can't say, it was Jordi Amissa, mate. It was Jordi Amissa. He obviously said his goodbyes today on Instagram. I messaged him saying all the best, pal. And he messaged back saying, cheers, Jimmy, much appreciated, up the Ramble. So there you go. Why do we trust in Wilder, says David Webster, the man that got us from 4th from bottom in League One to 9th in the Premier League. Why do we trust him? Don't tell me. It's a rhetorical question. He's a blade, one of our own. Utter claptrap, clueless Chris. David Webster, you know I always allow you any sort of platform because it's your right to have your say. But some things like this, we don't trust in Wilder because he's a blade. If that were the case, Mickey Adams would still be manager. You know, Neil Warner could be in the hot seat. Well, he's never been a blade, Aunt Colin, but it's his track record is the reason we trust him because he's done it before. And not everybody trusts him, and I get why people are cynical, and it's okay to be that way. But for those that do believe in him, we've every reason to believe in him. How many of those still in discussions are waiting for new ownership and possibly a new budget to see if the wages being offered are increased, says Paul. Absolutely right. That may play a part in it as well. I think they'll be lucky, to be honest. I don't see there being a huge upturn in brass, but that might play a part as well. Uncertainty over the club's future. Rob says, totally agree. If no players signed by now, get shut. Bring in players that want to play for the badge. Absolutely right, mate. Alan Brown is heavily linked, says Jamie, but attracting interest from others also. And this is the thing, innit, Jamie, because if we can't act quickly, we're going to lose targets like this, which, you know, the odd Alan Brown or Luke Haley near there doesn't make or break your season, in my opinion. I think they're both good championship players. But you can't have too many of them slipping through net with us, you know, just passing us by, because we will start behind 8 ball then, come start at season. Paul says, still like fog in the mist with that lot. Hopefully, come 14, we'll see if players start to come in up the Ramble, mate. Thank you, pal. Yeah, the 14th is the beginning of the transfer window. So that's when movement will start, hopefully. The one man we need, Dion Charles. Yeah, I like Dion Charles at Bolton. I think I've even mentioned him in the Ram. I certainly mentioned him on Twitter. He might be involved as well. Keep your eyes posted for the squad build videos. We're bottom half of the table at best at the moment without McBurney bottom 8. Some would say with McBurney bottom 8. But yeah, that's not me, obviously. Just a close relation. It's bare bones, isn't it, pal? It's absolute bare bones at the minute. And we need a plan. And we need to get it moving quick. Egan is a must, says Bill, given that Anel's likely off. The more players we lose, the bigger the recruitment mountain we have to climb. McBurney, similar, 16 goals, 16 goals last championship campaign, won't be easy to replace. Yeah, but you haven't got 3 players marking Illiman and Dye and leaving McBurney free, have you? So it's obviously being a bit cynical there. Get Will Lancashire back on loan. That'd hurt me, Terence. You know, we lost him for what, £2 million, and then he comes back and we make him a bit of a superstar. It's a bit of a kicker in it. But I understand the logic. Can't believe Egan. Shocking, says Gaza. Yeah, we don't know the full situation yet, do we, mate? To be fair, I'm not saying it's an Egan-led thing, but we'll see. We'll see. Talking Gas. Good evening, pal. Hope you're well, mate. Our Bristol Rovers friends. Ryan says, heard there's open trials day before the season starts. Get your boots out, lads and lasses. Good chance we'll be in for a Benson and Edges at this rate. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Whose idea was it to release Egan? We've not released Egan. And again, Billy says same, we haven't released him. But again, Gaz, I understand why you think that, because it's listed on the thing as free transfers in negotiations or ongoing negotiations. Balmy way to, release information when he's not been released. As far as we're aware, it'd be crazy. Chef Paul says, we all know that 4 or 5 of those on the retained list are really on the for sale list. Gerbic, Chanel, Vinny, Slimani. I don't know about Slimani. Will Slimani go? Again, he's one that I don't mind either way, but maybe there's half a chance he's a decent squad player in Championship. Evening, Clarky, one of our platinum ramblers. Just don't get it. If there's an option in the club's favour for Egan, presumed terms are already sorted, same contract, so I can only assume not taking it up and trying to renegotiate new ones. That's exactly what I think is happening, mate. I think we're trying to renegotiate and get him on a 2 or 3 year, get him tied down for the rest of his prime, if you like. He might even be past it to some, but in terms of getting the better years left out of him and a little bit of continuity in the squad. But it's getting to tight lines now, innit? My mistake, cheers. Billy says, Gaz, no worries, pal. What's Miguel Freckleton like, Jimmy? He's been linked with us. Miguel Freckleton he's come through our youth team, pal. He was on loan at Chelsea all season. I think he must have been injured because he's only. I was doing a little bit of checking up on how we were doing because I was planning on doing like a loan players review, but I honestly don't think we're gonna have time to do that sort of stuff now because everything is happening so fast with us. But I think he's like a left-sided centre half from memory, and always looked okay when I saw him at youth team. Obviously, did really well for Chelsea because they had a great season in National League, which we know is similar to League 2 standard. And yeah, he's out of contract with us. It's a little bit frustrating that we haven't got an option or something like that because I'd like us to keep hold of him, maybe test him at League 1 level, see how he gets on. But I think he'd be a good prospect for anybody. We'll probably get a tribunal for him if he signs for somebody now because of his age. But yeah, look after him if you get him, pal. What's been done to Osborne? If true, it's disrespectful. The lad never gave less than 100% and has more than enough skill for the Championship. Fair points, Paul. Fair points. Won't mind talking Barco on loan from Brighton. Don't know Barco, mate. Don't know Barco, Aaron. Has McBurney been released? No, pal. No, pal, even though it reads like that to some people. It's a mess, Jim, says Carl. What the hell? Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Like and subscribe. It is a mess, mate. No news yet, says Bill. People criticising Egan have lost the plot and are part of the I Reckon Brigade. I can be part of the I Reckon Brigade, though, Bill. It's all about opinions, in it. I understand what you're saying. I think Egan's got a lot more to offer the club But I'd also go other way with McBurney and say that maybe it's time for a change there. So, but I get it. Hammer Time says, I will keep saying, get Caddy Dembele, number one priority for me. Not for me, mate. Not for me. Did okay for Blackpool, didn't he? Last season. I don't think that's our priority. A winger. Billy and Gazwick loving. Wesley would have kept. Wes refused to sign a contract, mate. We offered him a good contract as well. Refused to sign it. Wanted to be number one somewhere. Went to West Ham. Sit on bench. Fair. I don't blame him for that, by the way, but don't mess up your principles. Do you know what I mean? Mixed messages, really. You know, he'll be getting more money at West Ham to be number 3 than he would from us to be number 2. So I don't blame him at all. You've got to do what's best for your family, but it looks like it's an ego thing that's got this deal done. Lee says, we're a mid to bottom half championship club. Wes is more than good enough for us. Maybe Wes kicked off because our fans talk to our players like dirt. Is that what you're supposed to be saying? Maybe, yeah, absolutely. Maybe he can't take the criticism, Lee, but he still takes the huge paycheck that comes with being a footballer, and he's all, you know, provided due to the fans coming and supporting the club. So I think it is slightly unfair if you're thinking about the real world, but if you're going to be a footballer, you've got to accept criticism. And I don't mean that nasty. I don't mean you should accept stick and, you know, abuse. So that's never acceptable. But when we come on and we criticize players, they get it. They get it. So I've known players that have sort of said, oh, I understand, I've not been great this year, I've been poor, and they're still very well paid and compensated for playing football, something a lot of us would love to do. Caddy for us and not South Barnsley. Yeah, because he's rumoured to be going there, into David. Will we get extra money if Dom Calvert-Lewin and Aaron Ramsdale leave their clubs? Dom, we will, because we only sold him for £1 million and we'll have had a sell-on. I'll be amazed if we can get a sell-on, but it was very early into when we started doing them sort of deals. Ramsdale, we've definitely got a sell-on for, and other like additional fees that'll come with things that he wins, essentially, while he's at Arsenal. But I think he's going to leave Arsenal for less than he signed for, which means we won't get any money for him, which is a shame, because they're not making a profit on him. Ollie says, I'm not lying when I say this, but someone on the COP said that Wilder and Wes fell out because Wes is with Wilder's daughter. Only them blades. We're not starting them rumours. No chance. Don't know the personal position, so no chance. 400 views at 9 p.m. Not bad. Thank you, pal. Thank you. We've got 411 in at the minute. Appreciate everybody's support. Cole says, we need 2 strikers up top who understand each other's game and play off each other, like a Cole and York from Man United. That won't be bad, would it? Want attackers to know what the goal is. Is it a lot to ask, Jimmy? Up the blades. No, Cole, it's not, pal. And I think all we can ask for really is a bit of consistency in the 11. Because how many times do we get the same pairing up front? You think Billy's talked about McBurney getting goals last season. And when he were playing up front with McBurney, with Ndiaye, they got a good run of games together. And that they were able to formulate that partnership. It looked like Brereton Diaz and McBurney were going to have that as well. Brereton Diaz and Archer started looking good, but we never got that consistent run of strikers playing together. And you're right, they need that understanding between them. McBurney giving us some hints on Twitter. From what I haven't seen anything tonight, but from what I've seen previously, McBurney's been saying like, "Nah, I'm not." It's been quite funny actually. I'm not gonna Hearts. I'm not. Are you going to say? Is my dad going to the same gym as yours? Has he been lying again? All this sort of stuff. He's denying going anywhere basically. I believe Chris Wilder should lead the rebuild, says Sonny, and we need to bring in crucial players early to avoid difficulties. Important to fill key roles promptly and give Wilder the chance to guide us back. In Wilder we trust, says Rob. He'll get the rebuild right and we'll be challenging for promotion next season. Kipre's rubbish, says Mark. Disagree. For a free, I don't think that's bad at all. Hi, Jimmy. We need a weekend away to watch George Baldock's debut in Athens. Yes, we do, mate. Yes, we do. Up the blades, up the Ramble. Ricky Giles. Hey, Jimmy, mate. Hey, mate. How you doing? My opinion on the delay and question marks over the recruitment under Wilder is because these new owners will want their football man, Des Taylor, to have oversight. Tells me they might be confident of a deal, but also means we could be twiddling our thumbs until it's done. We'll have to see. It's all speculation in it, Bill. You're right, though. We don't know. We don't know, and that might be a reason. Slit says, even though Chris is old school and likes full control, do you think he'll do a lot better if handed a list of players and just focus on coaching the first team? I think he's a manager rather than strictly a coach. I'm not saying he can't do coaching, but he likes to tactically think about how players are going to fit in rather than coach them per se. So I think he's a manager. We got no coffee. Don't understand, Rye. Sorry, mate. Yes, we will. SC, don't know what that's on about. Apologies. Got to go, Jimmy. The wife's stare is burning back of my neck. Promised her a cuppa an hour ago. Wasn't impressed. Told her to go do herself. Guess I'm grounded next couple of weeks if I'm alive, Jimmy. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Danny, I hope you recover well, and I hope to see you soon, pal. Thank you for joining us. Delap on loan from City would be good, says Ryan Zon. Yeah, it would. It would be good, but he did okay, didn't he, last season? But they're wanting to sell him for 10 mil. Understandable. They might not get that, and then they might have to look at a loan. But I won't be against that one. Potential signing, says Joe Burrows, Kipre, Worrell, Brannigan, Mark Leonard, David Brooks, Willock, Laird, Bielik, Tom Cannon. Thoughts? Love the vast majority of those. Yeah. Don't be surprised if they all appear on my list. Hey, Jimmy, what curry did you have up the Blade, up the Ramble? Not football related, but chicken madras. It's my go-to. Love it. Reese is a gamble for me, says Paul. Love the lad, but he breaks down more times than an old Ford Cortina. Yeah, he's not had a good run of luck, has it? I think if Rian Brewster weren't on the scene, then he'd be getting all the jokes that fall in with Rian Brewster, wouldn't he? Unfortunately. Sonny, welcome to the team, pal. New Rambler. Great to have you on board. Thank you for the support, mate. Bean says, how long can we go before making a signing before you start to get really worried? A couple of days? No, not yet. Not yet. You'll just have to gauge my mood with each passing ramble. If there's no one in 2 weeks' time, what are we doing? 2 weeks is way too long. Surely recruitment people had a list when they were signed. Yeah, but it's if we don't know the budget or we're not sure on the budget and we're now potentially going to have more money in the budget. We used the example last time. If you've got a left back out of contract and you can get him on a free and you're sort of doing a deal for that left back, but then somebody comes in and says, well, actually, I'm going to add 15 million quid to this budget and you can get Harrison Burrows now at left wing back. You might want to do that instead, might you? So while it's up in the air, that's the most optimistic way of looking at it. But, you never know. What's with all the Egan haters, says Gaza. Clueless, definitely not Blades. And get who else in. Let's hope McBurney signs, says Craig. What happens to this Bogle transfer request too? Bogle transfer request? No, Bogle, from what I understand, and it appears to have happened, looking at just putting 2 and 2 together and maybe coming up with 5, but we wanted Bogle to sign a new contract, but we've extended him instead. He's now got 1 year left, taking him to end of next season, and then he'll leave on a free. I think we need 2 goalkeepers, says Bean, right back, 2 centre-backs, a left wing back, defensive midfielder, replacement for McAtee and Illiman. Good luck. 2 dribblers, 2 strikers, not a lot to do. I can see Brewster injured till Christmas, then puts a 3-month top performance in and goes for free up the Ramble. Yeah, could do. It's the Blades way, ain't it? When will the takeover be completed, Jimmy? Don't know. After the season we've had, fans deserve to see faces coming in and putting a shift in for the shirt. I feel like this is holding us back. I'm Wilder. Yeah, I agree. It's delaying stuff. I think it'll be sooner rather than later, though, to be honest. I think things will start to move very quickly, very soon, in terms of the takeover. It's just how soon after that we can get moving with players. Heard Luton had 15 plus on their return list. I'll have to have a look at Luton's list to leave this window. Yeah, maybe. Oh, I think I've seen that, actually. Well, Luke Berry on it. I think he was only a decent player, in my opinion. O'Connell could come back from retirement and still do a better job than most of the team now. What a player he was. Message Jody and Mr. Today, and he replied, like to many as I've heard, a really nice touch from the lad who I really like as a player. Wish him luck and hope he becomes a cracking keeper. Absolutely right. Love that. Love that. Love players who take the time to speak to the fan base. It don't take a lot, does it? Well, it can do, don't get me wrong, but it's a really nice touch, that. If McBurney doesn't sign, we've lost 0 senior strikers contracted. Can't believe some people don't want him signed up. How many would you loan out of Asula, Marsh, One and Brooks? I think, to be honest, mate, you can't make that decision without knowing how many we've got. Because if we bring in 2 quality Premier League loan strikers, then I'd quite happily let Marsh, One and maybe even Asula go out on loan. If we're retaining McBurney, if we're retaining Jebo, I'd maybe let Jebo go out. So Loris Carrier says, Greg, no thanks, mate. I trust Wilder on what's happening behind the doors. Strong window and plenty of new faces. Up the Blades, up the Ramble, says Danny. Love that. Dean says, just like to mention that I think Chris Wilder's the most clued up coaching manager we've ever had. Don't agree with David Webster. Let's just say that. Brewster says, Ian, he's going to be a championship top scorer. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Like and subscribe. Big shout that. You've got to be fit first. Brewster's going to be the most injured player in the championship next season, says Al. I think there's better odds on that, to be honest. We're coming to the end now. So late shout to Big Leon Clark, who hung up his boots early this month after 20 years and 248 clubs. Thanks for the bouncing day magic. Absolutely brilliant. Leon Clark, what a job he did for us. What about Patterson from Sunderland? Too much money, mate. We're not going to spend 8 million quid on a keeper. It's about time it's dropped, pal. Just the takeover now. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Like and subscribe, says Liam. Thank you, mate. Criticism's fine, but our lot cross the line constantly. With Wes, yeah, some do. Some do. You're always going to get that, though, Lee. In every fan base, some are going to take it too far. I would personally like to offer some tips on blocking people online, which I haven't had to do for a long, long time. But there's nasty folk in every corner, isn't there? And you just don't need them. Don't need them in your life, do you? Ain't Wes a London lad, so would have family down there, says Paul. Yeah, maybe so. I don't know, actually. He might be. Just trying to think back to what his accent is. You might be right, pal. It makes sense for him, doesn't it? I don't begrudge him it either. It just, the reasoning he was giving for not staying with us is what makes me smile a little bit. I think we should revert back to cricket. Just a thought. Players need to get a grip, says Ollie. Many get the same money as we do in a year. They get it in a week. Minimum Blades fans want his passion, so show that this season. Love that, Ollie. Love that. Chris says, why does it feel like the fax machine? IBM one is going to bugger us up. Yeah, maybe so. Yeah, the old Atari. Am I a skeptic or just an old blade? No, you've lived it, haven't you, mate? You've lived it. We've been there before with this club. We love them, but they are frustrating. Jimmy, good point about strike partnerships. Archer was effective at Middlesbrough, but Akpom was a big part of that. Did Archer misfire this season because the front line kept changing? Maybe. And that's giving him an excuse. And so is the fact that I think he was played out of position out on the left, certainly by Eki at times. I think Wilder played him out on the left a couple of times. I know Eki played him very deep, like in a 10, which I don't think is. I always thought he needed to be on the shoulder of the last man, the number 9, and start banging in some goals in for some confidence. And then second half of the season, he ain't got any confidence, starts missing chances. And it's just been, what about Brian Dean and Tony Agana? Telepathic, those two. We need another two. Yeah, that's exactly right in it, FX. Those two knew where each other were going to be all the time. What a pairing they were. Might be a bit old now, like. Yeah, they could be. Never mind. Colin York says, we need a new Dean and Agana. Like that winger and all from Basel. Was it Preston? Liam Miller. Yeah, if we're going to go the wingers route. Yeah, Ollie says Miller. If we're going to go the wingers route, he's decent. But I don't know where he'd fit in the current system. But is it time to change the system? Maybe so. Maybe so. Cole says Mason Greenwood available for transfer. Can you imagine he would love to join a mighty team like Den Blades? No thanks. No thanks. Great player, but this thing's more important than football, isn't there? Carl says, hi, Jimmy. If the potential new owners are getting involved in our departures, surely they can give guarantees about arrivals. That would be my point too, Carl. I agree. They can guarantee funds for new strikers. Then absolutely. They can't have the say on outgoings if they can't have the say on incomings. And to have that say on incomings, you've got to guarantee some funds to support that, haven't you? We are speculating, but I agree. Non-Iron Blade says, hopefully there are loans to buy if we're bringing any in. Would rather buy that use loans, even though they've done us well in the past. Absolutely right, mate. Makes sense. It's a sensible approach, isn't it? Evening, mate. Worrell will be the first body through the door this summer, says Bran. Me too. Cash in from Derby would be a top signing. Alan Brown and Paddy McNair would really shore up that midfield too. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. I think if Paddy McNair comes in as a right centre-back, but I agree. All good signings. Would you take Ronnie Edwards for centre-back at Peterborough? Yes, I would, mate, but I think it's going to cost a lot of money to get him out of there. 3-4-3 attack, says Ollie. And crime scene cleaners. How many loan players can we sign? Someone said it's about 5 or 6. I think this worked for Fulham when they got promotion. We can sign 5 from the Premier League. I don't know how many it is in total, but we can sign up to 5 from the Premier League now, which you can only sign 2 when you're in the Prem. So, yeah, it bodes a little bit better for us, doesn't it? But thank you to everybody for joining me tonight. The return list leaves us with more questions than answers. We are still in a bit of limbo. At least we've got it. Some people will be happy that it's finally out, but it don't really give us any more information, does it? We'll try our best to get you some more information on this pending takeover as and when it drops. But now the return list has come out and we've got more of an idea, or certainly the best idea we're going to get from the club as to where we're going with players. We will be doing our squad build videos and who I believe that we could be looking at bringing in. I'll probably do a best case scenario, a worst case scenario, and then I want your feedback on it as well. We're going to start that, though, by doing a squad assessment in where we are with stuff, which we did in January, and it went down really well. So hopefully you like it again. And, yeah, I'll be back very shortly. But for now, come on, you red and white wizards. Up the blade!